Things are not looking up for Newcastle United. They find themselves in 14th position with just 12 points. But in today's video, I've got some pretty good news regarding Newcastle United's future as they look to bolster their squad heading into the January window. Before I do begin, if you are new here, please do hit the like, hit the subscribe. It is always greatly appreciated, only of course if you want to. But yeah, let's get straight into it. It comes from two very good sources, Craig Hope and Matteo Moretta from Italy, and they're talking about two young midfielders that Newcastle United want to sign to bolster that area. I do feel like that is the area of the pitch which Newcastle United certainly needs some more firepower. I think if you're looking at the goalkeeper situation, Ramsdale, I think he needs to come in with his progressive nature on the ball. I feel like Newcastle are ready for that next step. Then you've got Hall at left back, very good. Then the two centre halves, Botman, you've got Shah, you've got Malik Thiaw, you've got Byrne. I think that is a very, very good sort of centre halves to choose from. Then right back, Livramento and Trippier is probably one of the strongest positions on the pitch. Then you're looking again across the front line. You've got huge options, Barnes, Gordon, you've got Elanga, you've got Murphy. That is good enough. Then up front, Voltemada and Vissa. But when you look in the midfield, you're looking at just Bruno and Tonali in there. And I feel like they're both players who aren't really specialists in terms of, one is more specialist in forward areas, the other is more specialist in that midfield scrappy area and breaking up the play. And that's okay. But Newcastle need a pass-first midfield. And I've said this so long. Newcastle United need to sign players who are very good in the final third on the ball with certain creativity in their play. And one of the targets, Keith Smit, does hit that criteria from Craig Hope. He talks about him as a player that Newcastle United want to sign. And if you didn't watch his game against Crystal Palace, he was incredible for AZ Alkmaar. He's a player with a lot of potential. And as you see, why in a minute, And of course, Alexander Stankovic is another player, 20-year-old defensive midfielder, and it comes from Matteo Moretta, of course, from Italy. Newcastle United are interested in him. He's a number 6, and we can talk about maybe signing a player like that to give more license to the likes of Bruno Guimaraes to go in forward areas and Tonali as well. I mean, getting either or of these players, of course, you'd want both. It allows Newcastle United to unlock a certain way of playing and a different positions for their already star players in the midfield. But let us start by looking at the statistics, and here is Keith Smit. In the blue is Keith Smit, and in the red is Pedri. And this is where I'm going to start. Keith Smit is an incredible player. He genuinely is an incredible player. Even Ronald Koeman has likened him to Pedri, and you're looking at this. You don't need to be a genius to understand this, but they've got similar data points. You're looking at key passes, exactly similar. Obviously, Pedri is playing at a higher level, but still, you can see an outline of what Keith Smith sort of is best at. You're looking at progressive passes as well, very close to Pedri. You're looking at other stuff like ball carrying, very close to Pedri. Then, of course, in there is final third passes, very good. See, this is a player who can certainly create things. And if you're looking at Newcastle United's midfield, you're thinking, can we add a bit more creativity? Can we add a bit more sort of thinking of how can we make this go into the back of the net through some moment of genius, individual quality, and this is not me throwing shade at Joe Linton, because I think he's a good player in his own right. But when certain games arrive where you've got the ball and you're like, do something, you're looking at that Newcastle United midfield and you're like, only Bruno really is a specialist creator in the final third. Tonali, he can score a couple of goals by getting into the box, by shooting from distance. But he's much better in the middle of the park where it gets a bit scrappy, where you want him to overrun the opponent's midfield. Or when he's running backwards, he can sweep up the play. He can get into the box. Great. But Keith Smit, give him the ball in those deeper areas. He wants to create something. He wants to make something happen. His ball striking is incredible. This is a player who can strike a ball so well. Genuinely so well. And he's a big lad as well. He's quite tall. He's quite physical too. So if you want him to do that part of his game, he can do it as well. So this is a jack of all trades. Newcastle United need more jack of all trades. And Keith Smit is certainly a player who is a jack of all trades. That's why he can play 6, he can play 8, he can play 10, he can play off the wing. This is a player who can specialize in multiple different roles. If you're talking about versatility, tick. And this is a player as well, I think would cost around 25 million. I don't know if there's a release clause. I haven't read too much into it. But this is the sort of player Newcastle United need to go into January and be like, come, we'll pay you what you think you need, but we need your profile. Newcastle do not have a profile like this in their squad. Just a genius creativity-wise in the final third who can be really dominant. And here again, I'm always showing you F-Bref models. You guys are probably more familiar with these now. Look at those greens in the attacking part of his game. You're looking at in there, top 10% for progressive carries. That's incredible. Progressive passes, top 28%. Successful take-ons, top 10%. Progressive passes recorded, top 19%. Then you're looking again on the top stats, non-penalty goals. He's in the top 34%. This is a player who's given license to play deeper, but if you give him the license to go forward, I think it can be even better. Shots total, top 10%. This is a player who's willing to take shots. Assists, top 19%. Shot creating actions, top 6%. This is a player who will create opportunities by either striking the ball himself or finding someone else. This is a top talent. And we're talking about Newcastle United's project. Bruno Guimaraes, they got him. People weren't willing to take that risk on him. Look, they're reaping the rewards. Isak is the same. Keys Smit will be one of the best midfielders in the world. Definitely. I definitely agree with that statement. I think this guy can be really good. And you can maybe look at those reds in the defensive part of his game. But when you've got Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali next to him, that must give him the license to be average defensively. It's not even like he's poor. He's just, average. And sometimes you've got to let that little averageness to allow for that creativity that it will give you in the final third. And I feel like no team better than Newcastle United to have a profile like this. But anyway, let's now move on to Stankovic. And this is his stats. He's a number 6. Really good on the ball as well. Same with Keith Smit, because I feel as though Newcastle do struggle with build-up. When the keeper has the ball, then you're asking, can we play out of this situation with quality, with assurance? Keith Smit will allow that, and so will Stankovic as well. Tottenham are interested in Stankovic, and I must say Keith Smit is being followed by all the big boys, Real Madrid, Barcelona. Everyone knows about him, but I feel like the project Newcastle United could offer Keith Smit, and of course Stankovic as well, who's followed by a lot of big clubs. That would make them want to come. They'll be able to get minutes, proper minutes. You can't offer them proper minutes at the Barcas, at the other teams like that. But anyway, let's look at Stankovic, who's a lot better on the ball as well in terms of defensively too. Look at that. Top 7% for aerials, top 1% for clearances. That's incredible. Passes completed, top 22% as well. Progressive passes. Look, this is a guy who can play as well. And tackles, interceptions. He's obviously left on an island sometimes, playing as the lone 6, so those stats are a bit skewed. But this is a top talent as well. Newcastle United are identifying the right players. And this is the next step I wanted them to take in the midfield. Sign players who are not too similar. Jacob Ramsey fits what Newcastle already have, but you want a differentiator. Somebody who can take the game by the scruff of its neck, Keith Smit. Someone that can pick up the ball in deeper areas like Bruno and play out of danger, Stankovic. This is the right way to go about it. And if you're looking at this, I've not forgotten Joe Linton, but look at that. Young quality who are already good right now. Just looking at those options that Newcastle United could have, I'm a bit jealous because it could be really, really good. I'm not saying they're going to get these deals done in January, but I am saying there's real potential here to turn this season around, bring some fresh energy in that midfield, help Bruno in the attacking areas. Don't just give him creativity burden. And getting the guys, Stankovic and, of course, Keith Smit, will allow that. And obviously the biggest news, which isn't a signing, is that Wissa could be coming back after the November international break, which is absolutely huge. They need him and Voltemada can definitely work. So there's solutions internally as well. I don't think everything will be all down. Get to January, be within 6 points of the top 5 to top 6, then you can kick on from there. We know Newcastle always get better after the January period. But anyway, that's it for now. Hope you have enjoyed, and on to next time. Peace.